Hi there, I'm here with my good friend Howard Hyman. He's the master chef and owner of Exquisite Events Catering. How you doing, Howard?
Very good, Steve. Very good. It's a pleasure to be here today. It's actually an honor.
Well, it's my honor to have you, number one, as a friend, and number two, to be here. And I know I just grabbed you as you came in for something else, but I have not had a chance to speak to you yet about our collaboration project called On Target, Regaining My Health Using a Whole Food Plant-Based Diet. And it's about Mr. Greg Drouillard, as you know, who's the president and owner of Target Building Materials on Cabana Road, across from the airport. Now, I haven't had a chance to speak to Greg either, and I know that you and he met last week.
Yes.
So I just wanted to get debriefed on what happened here.
Yes, we had an opportunity to meet, and it was also a pleasure meeting Greg. The whole facet of this journey that he's going on was just amazing to me in terms of having a trainer and a dietitian at the same time encompassed is just an amazing feature. And to have a target goal and to have someone like yourself, as a pharmacist and a lead pharmacist in plant-based in Canada, was just something that to me was over the top. So as I mentioned to Greg in my meetings when I saw him, I think this is a tremendous opportunity, and I think that it's going to be something that's going to be really amazing to unfold and for the market to be able to see how this whole thing goes. Because if you have a goal, we're starting a new year, I mentioned to Greg, this is the best opportunity to start right now. So I told him, after the Super Bowl, that's it. You're mine, and we're taking you on. So we got you for about the next 6 months, and we're going to develop and make this thing work. So the idea was to get a certain train of thought, get some things that are regular things in and out of your mind, and get ready for a journey. And as I mentioned to him, the journey really isn't that hard. It's not as hard as people would think. It's more simplistic in the way as you just have to put aside some things that you normally do, which we would call, I think, selfish things, because we all have those manners. Like me as a chef, I have a very big sweet tooth. So a lot of times I will go a certain amount of time without doing certain things. Whatever it may be, if it's alcohol, abstraining, we can do these things as human beings, for an X amount of time. So I told him the idea is we're not going to take you totally off every single thing. It's not like you'll ever not be able to taste beef again, but we're certainly going to restrain you for a period of time. But we're going to make it fun at the same time, Steve. So I'm really looking forward to this journey with Greg.
Thank you, Howard. I'm really happy that you're on board, and I for sure have a lot of faith in your abilities. Now, as a chef, I know that you make all sorts of food, all types of food. But as you know, we're trying to focus more on a whole food plant-based journey, because the goal is to have Greg adopt a whole food plant-based journey as part of lifestyle changes. And that's why we also have Jonathan Siacha from JS Fitness, who, as a matter of fact, happens to also follow a whole food plant-based diet. So that'll be very helpful from his perspective, from the fitness. So from your perspective, what I was hoping to have you do, and that's why I'm glad that you came by together, and we're actually recording this without unscripted and all that stuff, is I really want you to focus on teaching him calorie density of foods.
Yes.
So when you have from the low calorie density of the lowest being vegetables to the highest being oil, we have the vegetables, fruits, complex carbs, and whole grains. Then next is legumes. And those go up to about 600 calories per pound. And then when you go higher, you get the meats, which are 800 calories per pound. Then you have the processed starches like whole wheat pasta, whole wheat bread. And then you go up higher and higher to nuts and seeds, which I believe are about 2,400 calories per pound, all the way to 4,000 calories per pound with the oil. So the object for Greg, as you know, his goal is to lose 80 pounds by his birthday, which is July 13th, I believe. And so
Awesome.
He wants to adopt this whole food plant-based diet, number one, to lose weight, and number two, to help his health situation. Because obviously being overweight and obese is the foundation of all the chronic diseases that we have that we're faced with here in North America, particularly heart disease, diabetes, as well as common forms of cancer. So we don't want to just eliminate calories, because we could use any type of diet, whether it's a keto diet, paleo diet, a Suzanne Summers diet, any kind of diet that's calorie deficient will result in him losing weight. For example, even if someone were to smoke, or if they do cocaine, you know, they're going to lose weight, but those are not healthy. And so neither are some of these other diets from my perspective as a pharmacist who teaches plant-based nutrition. So that's the reason why we're focusing on whole food plant-based nutrition. Have you seen the movie Forks Over Knives yourself?
I have had an opportunity to take a look at that. Very fascinating.
Yes, and so you would have noticed that they focused on using plant-based nutrition to help patients halt and reverse their heart disease, as well as lose weight and, you know, improve their blood sugar control, all that stuff. The plant-based diet is actually follows pretty closely the Canada Food Guide. I'm sure you're very familiar with the Canada Food Guide. And the only difference being the Canada Food Guide does allow you, as you said, to have some meat and some dairy and this and that. But the difference being is that this new Canada Food Guide actually promotes plant proteins in lieu of animal proteins.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was a big step. I don't know, how did you feel when you heard that?
You know, for me as a chef, I think it's very exciting because the culinary industry is actually moving towards that step right now. We're moving towards that platform. You're seeing more and more chefs, especially in the East Coast places, you know, where we've been able to take things off the shores before and utilize whatever it is that we can, you know, land and sea. But more or less now, chefs are working with farmers to get in, you know, the goods that they need and make it more diversified for the client. So I think it's actually an amazing thing because whether it's plant or animal, one obviously is better than the other for you in the long run. I must say that. But you can get just as much calorie-wise, you and I both know that, Steve, from the plant or the animal, you know. Whichever one you choose, one is definitely going to be healthier for you in the long run, right?
Right.
So what we have to look at is longevity. That becomes the key, right? Longevity with our health.
Very important. So yes, Howard, longevity is key. I mean, you know, we all live, especially in this world with modern medications, the medical system, sorry. We're all living, you know, into our 70s, 80s, and sometimes 90. But we're not living in a healthful way. So we want to live long, but also be healthy so we can enjoy, you know, the last 20, 30 years of our lives. And hopefully we can all live to be 100, which is very, very possible, 100 and even more. So I'm glad that we're on the same page when it comes to that. But I wanted to touch base and make sure that I know you're an awesome chef and you cook every type of food. And I know that it should be very simple for you to cook plant-based foods. But I'm not sure if you've ever had any specific plant-based cookbooks. And so I wanted to offer you, no charge of course, I wanted to give you two little gifts. These are the type of foods we want to focus on.
Okay.
This one is from the movie Forks Over Knives. They also have a website with many of those recipes are on there. And this is another book called the China Study Cookbook.
Very good.
Both these sources also are essentially oil-free.
Yes.
That's the one big difference. So have a look at those. Those are for your library. I'm sure you have tons of books at home, but help yourself to those, and hopefully we can focus on making that type of food for Greg and also teaching him the basics of cooking using plant-based products and plant-based techniques. What do you think of that?
Thank you, my friend. This is going to be exceptional for my library. So I really like what I see here. And you can never have enough, you know, information, enough education, you know, culinary-wise. There can never be enough. And you know the quote, Steve, knowledge is king. So
That's right.
whatever I can get, I will take it, encompass it, and I will feed off of it. So this is really awesome. And this is going to be great for our format with Greg.
And just a little history about you. Like, you've been working a long time in the industry, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think back from high school you started working at Red Lobster. Is that correct?
Yes,
Give us a
absolutely.
little bit of your history, actually.
Absolutely. I started off my career very, very young. I started off actually with a company that pretty much everybody in Canada is familiar with, Harvey's. Just a regular, you know, guy, young kid in high school, working at Harvey's after school, and at that point I had no real interest in the culinary world. I started off maybe a few years later later working for Red Lobster Canada, and progressed with them, opening up their stores and training their kitchens across Canada as they developed as a company in Canada. So that was really exciting for me as a young man and gave me an opportunity to just open up my experiences in terms of hospitality and human resources, dealing with front of the house and so on and so forth, and making it all gel as a team. So that was really cool for my first 12 years or so in the culinary world. After that, I decided that things were going well and I wanted to expand on it. So I went back to school, wrote my trade papers and got my red seal, and I started working for Caesars here in Windsor. So I did a 20-year stint with those. Was great marriage, good company, a lot of people, so a lot of development on a human resources side, and you're working with just really a mass chain of organizations. So the demands from that of a small restaurant as opposed to that level where you're dealing with a buffet and 8 or 9 different restaurants, a hotel tower, banquet facility, concerts coming in every week, it's just amazing. So that experience within itself is a lifer. You know, I'll take that one with me for my life. So now at this point in time in my life, I'm doing a lot of private work, and it is definitely such an honor, Steve, to be working with this gentleman, Greg, because these are the things that I prescribe now, is to have been able to take everything that I've gained, all the knowledge that I've gained over the last 35 years, and encompass it in exciting ways like this.
Yeah, he's very excited to have you on board. And I wanted to ask you, how long have you been working on your current company, Exquisite Events Catering? And tell us a bit about what you do.
Yes, absolutely. Exquisite Events came about through, I was sort of going towards thinking about retirement. And I thought to myself, what can I do within the next 10 years or so? I've worked in the field for good 35 years. I've had a great time and experience with the culinary. So I sat down with my wife. We went over a few things. I went through a training session with a gentleman from Toronto, and this was given by the Small Business Center in Windsor here. And we did that course for about 6 weeks, and they asked us to make a business plan. We went through that, passed it, and we actually ended up getting a government grant, which is really cool. So we started up Catering Exquisite Events, which is my small-based catering in-home business now that I have. It's been going exceptionally well, even through the COVID periods. It's been well, and through opening back up now that we're progressing, a lot of calls are coming in, and what you'll find is that a lot of people, the brides and so on and so forth, they've gone onto a new mindset where now they want to go in-home, or they want to go to a smaller scale place. So instead of the 300 people that were coming to their wedding, they're now having 100 or 75 or 50 at their home. So it's become intimate and something that I specialize in. So it's been really gratifying for us, and I look forward to see, what comes out of it.
What a fantastic niche you've developed, Howard. I've had many chances to look at your website. It's just totally exquisite. And it's amazing to think that you, the chef, will come to the person's home and describe a little bit about the process. So let's say you went to a person's home with a group of 12 people. What do? You also bring the foods? Do you purchase the groceries, or do they have to purchase it? How does it work?
Yes, that's an excellent question, Steve. What happens is, and the folks that do come aboard and take on our services, they get quite excited, because what happens is it's a one-stop shop. You call in if you're a group of 6 or 12 or what have you. We come to your home live. When I say live, I mean live. So we are in your kitchen. Depending on what sort of numbers I might have an assistant chef. I might have a couple servers outside. I might have a bartender, depending on the numbers. So we are there, and we do everything live. The start of it, the middle, the finish, and progressively, it's a beautiful thing, because you as the host, your job is to do nothing but enjoy your guests. So we take care of everything for you. So it's actually an amazing feat in terms of that. And one of the things that I did when I was researching the company and putting it all together for the Small Business Center with the business plan was to think about what I saw over the last 35 years in Windsor, and if this market was available to me. And demographic wise, I was not really in any sort of shock to realize that yes, there are guys that are doing catering, there are companies that cater, but there are not a lot of people that offer live catering in your home, which is very special and a lot more intimate. And, as I mentioned, leaves you time to be more at bay with your guest as opposed to the razzle dazzle, and the stress that you might get trying to develop something for your guest.
That sounds awesome, Howard. And just another question, do you also go to places of work? Do you go to people's businesses to do the same thing? If they have kitchen facilities, of course?
Yes. I mean, honestly, you're asking me some great questions, Steve, because over the last year or so, what's happened is we're getting an influx of totally different things from our consumers and clients. I have churches reaching out to me that have meetings every month, and they want to have something for 6 people where it's a lunch drop-off. I have lawyers reaching out to me, and they want to do an appreciation day for their office. So we have so many different things that we're doing, collaboration-wise with people. So it's not just the in-house. It's a multitude of different factors that we're reaching out to with people. And I'm really glad to see that because I hadn't planned all of these things specifically, but they seem to have developed on their own. So we're really fascinated with that. And we're just pivoting and just going with that, Steve.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Well, as you know, I highly recommend your company, Exquisite Events Catering, and I highly recommend Chef Howard Hyman. Anytime you have a function at your house or at your place of work, if you're having a wedding, baptism, any type of special event where you want somebody to come there and give you personalized services, Howard Hyman is the person to call. And just to end everything off, Howard, I'm really happy again that you're on board with us on our new On Target team. We're going to build Greg's health back the best it can be using a whole food plant-based diet. And our goal is to do it by his birthday, which is 6 months from now. And as he says, his goal is to go through this process, lose the weight that he wants to lose, so he could live the rest of his life and have it be the best of his life. So I'm really happy and confident that yourself and Jonathan and myself together, the 3 of us, will be the team that Greg needs to accomplish this. So I'm looking forward to it, brother. And I want to thank you. And we'll always keep in touch and work on this and be successful, hopefully, at the end.
Yes. Thank you for having me, Steve. As Canada's leading plant-based pharmacist, I'm loving this opportunity to work with this team.
Thanks, Howard.